Hello and welcome everyone to the first episode of the complete Adobe Photoshop free course. Today's video is basically divided into 3 parts. So, without wasting any time, let's get into the video. In this video you will be learning about Adobe Photoshop, uses of Photoshop, pixels and resolution, basic tools used in Photoshop. First part, Introduction to Adobe Photoshop. In the particular part you will be learning about Adobe Photoshop. Uses of Photoshop, bitmaps, vectors, RGB and CMYK color model. Adobe Photoshop is a graphics editing and optimizing software. It was developed and published by Adobe Systems and is an ideal tool for professional photographers, graphic designers and web designers. It has made its place as an industry standard for graphic professionals. Graphics artists find its use in wide areas that encompass diverse requirements in industries such as creating completely new artwork, composite images, restoring old photographs, adding or removing artifacts to image analysis. Photoshop can be used to remove incorrectly displayed parts of a picture which result due to some modification to the picture. Photoshop is basically an image editing application. Photoshop, being an image editing application, has a rich set of tools and commands which help us in working on different images. For example, in Photoshop, one can edit digital images or bitmaps, we can retouch, correct color, compose and do lots more in Photoshop. Bitmaps. Bitmap means a map of bits, they are rastered images consisting of rectangular pixels. While editing a bitmap, one edits the color values of the individual pixels or groups. Bitmaps consist of a set of fixed numbers, which are used to add text number of pixels per inch. Bitmaps can be saved in file formats like GIF, PNG, TIFF, and JPEG. Vectors are resolution-independent drawings, so we can scale them, and they will still get smoothly printed unlike bitmaps. Photoshop is a bitmap-oriented application. When an illustration is imported from Adobe Illustrator, it comes in the vector format. There are fundamentally 2 types of image editing applications available in the market. One is for editing of images or bitmaps which are made up of pixel information, such as Adobe Photoshop, and the other is used for working with objects that are also called vectors images. In the second type, the object or vector image is mathematically defined, and these objects can be moved, scaled, or transformed, but they exist all the time as individual objects. Illustrator is one such application which is used for vector image editing. To begin with, let's see the 2 Photoshop color models RGB and CMYK. RGB. The name of the mode comes from the initials of the 3 additive primary colors, red, green, and blue. In RGB, red and green form yellow, red and blue form violet, and blue and green form cyan. This is the same way in which the colors are perceived by human eyes. A typical RGB output device is a color television, and input devices are video cameras, image scanners, and digital cameras. CMYK. The name of this subtractive color model comes from the initials of the colors cyan, magenta, yellow, and key, that is black. This model is mostly used in color printing. CMYK being a subtractive color model, it subtracts brightness from white. CMYK is used mainly for getting better printing results. Second part, pixels and resolution. In the particular part you will be learning pixels. Resolution, 8-bit, 16-bit, and 32-bit images. In Photoshop, pixels are the smallest elements of a bitmap. A pixel means a picture element. One can see the pixels arranged. The pixels are placed in a 2-dimensional grid, and they are often represented using dots, squares, or rectangles. While working in Photoshop, we edit the pixels and change the color, shade, and brightness. The intensity of each pixel is typically of 3 or 4 components, such as red, green, and blue, or cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. The pixels that form a digitized image, such as a JPEG file used on a web page, may or may not be in one-to-one correspondence with screen pixels, depending on how a computer displays an image. Resolution. Resolution is the number of pixels in an image. the measurement of resolution wisdom in ppi, meaning pixels per inch. For example, a 640 by 480 pixel screen is capable of displaying 640 distinct pixels on each of 480 lines, or about 300,000 pixels. The higher the resolution, the more details are stored for the graphic. This means that a higher resolution image has higher quality, but it also is larger. Images which are going to be printed in a printing press need a higher resolution than those displayed on screen. The number of bits available for displaying each pixel in an image is called bit depth. As the bit depth goes higher, you get more accurate colors. A bit depth of 1 bit can display 2 colors, 2 bits display 4 colors, 4 bits displays 16 colors, an image of 8 bits contains 256 colors, an image of 16 bits contains 32,768 colors, an image of 24 or 32 bits contains 16.7 million colors. Third part, basic tools used in Adobe Photoshop. In the particular part you will be learning how to begin with Photoshop, drawing and painting tools, brushes, pencils, erasers, shapes, colors, selection tools, text tools, layers and shortcuts for cut, copy, paste, and undo. Let's begin hands-on practice with Photoshop by starting the program. Select and open Adobe Photoshop. This opens a gray window, which is default for Photoshop. Now you can open a file, create a file, or open an image. Select New File, select any one from the available options and click on Create. You'll get a new file opened in the window in the subsequent frames. We will use basic tools in Photoshop. As a Photoshop tutorial, Photoshop is used by graphic designers. It has a rich set of brushes, pencils, erasers and shapes. You can play around with the brushes in Photoshop. Brushes and pencils are placed on the toolbar and in its presets you can make changes. For example, the size to draw using the brush. Select the Brush tool. Click on the canvas and drag the mouse in the direction you want to draw. To erase the drawing, select the eraser, a tool from the toolbar, and use it in the same way as the brush is used. For drawing, shapes is made easy by Photoshop. You can draw shapes pretty easily by selecting the Shape tool on the toolbar, and it offers you many shapes to draw. After drawing in Photoshop for a while, you may need to change the color in the drawing. The color picker is available in the options bar and you may choose colors from the palette in Photoshop. Selections are used to select part of an image that the part can be copied and pasted on another part of the image. To move part of an image to another part, select it and go to Edit. Cut. The shortcut for this tool is Ctrl+X. To copy the selection and for pasting it in some other part, go to Edit, Copy. The shortcut for copying is Ctrl+C. To paste it at some other place, go to Edit, Paste. The shortcut for pasting is Ctrl+V. After you have performed a step, sometimes you may feel like reverting to the previous step. To go back to the step, go to Edit, Undo. The shortcut for this step is Ctrl+Z. To go a step forward, go to Edit, Redo. The shortcut for this step is Shift+Ctrl+Z. Layers are like transparencies placed one below the other in a document. They can be repositioned and separately drawn, without disturbing each other. When we cut and paste part of an image, a layer is created automatically and the image is pasted on the new layer. Even though Photoshop is not a text-oriented application, you can add text to your document. To do so, you have options like horizontal and vertical type tools available in the toolbar. You can modify the text by changing the font size, font family, its color style, and alignments. Select the text tool from the toolbar, select a font from the options bar, select a size and type in text bounding box or in front of the text cursor. Thank you for watching the video. Stay tuned for the next part. Until then, please like the video, comment us and let us know your review, and please make sure you're subscribed to our channel.